Hi guys, and welcome to Tasha Tuesday. So as you guys know, I absolutely love Halloween, and it's around this time of year that people start buying their tickets to hard ticket events at theme parks like Disney and Universal. So today I thought it'd be really fun to go through my thoughts, my opinions, and just tips and tricks for one of these, specifically Universal Studios Halloween Horror Night. So let's get started. I got my little chart and everything so that I can tell you guys all the details you need to know. So what exactly is Halloween Horror Night? Well, Halloween Horror Night is put on by Universal Studios and is a more adult Halloween party than what Disney puts on. This one is Disney does for family. This one is definitely for the older, more mature adult audience who are a fan of horror movies and like horror in general. The premise of this is that there are different houses that you walk through and each are themed differently with scare actors coming out at you. You also have scare zones, which is just areas that you walk through where people will come running at you with chainsaws or hammers and like threaten you. There is also usually a show on by Academy of Villains, and it's just like a fun themed dance horror one. This is probably the least scariest part of the entire night. So when is it? Well, this year of 2019, Halloween Horror Night will be running from the 6th of September to the 2nd of November, and the times will start at 5:30 in the afternoon and go until 1 or 2 a.m. depending on the night. Usually Fridays and Saturdays it'll go till 2 a.m. and the rest of the week it'll finish at 1 a.m. in the morning. So how much does this event cost? Well, the good news is that it's a hard ticket event, meaning it's a separate ticket from an everyday park ticket. So if you don't want to go to the parks in the day and you just want to do this event, you just buy the ticket for this event and that's fine. The tickets start from $81 before tax, which I believe works out to be $88 after tax for a one-night horror experience. Meaning you have one night from 5:30 until it closes to do whatever you want. There are 1 night, 2 nights, and frequent fear passes. In my opinion, if you know you're going to go more than once, always get the frequent fear pass. There are different levels. There's one which block you out on Fridays and Saturdays. There's ones that let you do all of the nights. And if you're a fan of horror and you're not sure, frequent fear pass is the way to go. And if you're only going to be there on holidays, I would still recommend going if you're a fan of horror, at least for one night. So there are other things open other than the houses. These include rides. Now I have a list of rides that will be open during Halloween Horror Night, which are Rip Ride Rockit, The Mummy, Men in Black, Escape from Gringotts, which is in Harry Potter World. You've got Transformers and Fast and the Furious. So all of those rides are generally open during Halloween Horror Night. So if you didn't want to go to Universal all day and still wanted to have the opportunity to go on the rides, you can still do that. It just will cut into your like haunted house time. So everywhere except the Wizarding World of Harry Potter will be themed Halloween. I don't believe they have the rights to make it Halloweeny, but if you still want to experience some like Halloween stuff there, just go to Nocturne Alley because it's pretty dark and scary down there too. The quick service restaurants will be open. I believe all of them except the Monster Cafe. I believe that is a separate VIP ticketed event and experience that you can add on to your Halloween Horror Night ticket if you want. But everywhere else should be open. They do close an hour before the park closes. So if it closes at 1 a.m, all of those quick service restaurants will close at midnight. You can also get exclusive foods from Halloween Horror Night, and they are in pop-up tents. I believe they are going black and white striped, kind of like the Beetlejuice one around, and that's how you know it's specifically for Halloween Horror Night. Usually if you do go during the day, if you're an annual pass, you'll see those ones, but they won't be open until the event actually opens. So last year they had like the potato twirls on a stick, they had pizza fries, and like some other fun exclusive stuff for Halloween Horror Nights only. So as well as the exclusive food that you can also get exclusive cocktails and beers during Halloween Horror Night. Now they usually have a deal on, which means you can buy a refillable cup for I believe $14, and then you get the refills for $8. So how does the actual Halloween Horror Night part of Universal work? So the first thing you should be aware of is that the lines of the houses can get very, very long, especially for some of the headliners. Last year's headliners were Stranger Things and Poltergeist, and for 2019, the headliner is Stranger Things Season 2 and 3. Those lines will get very long. Last year the headlinings had a minimum of an hour wait, but got upwards of 2 hours, especially later on in the season. So last year in 2018 they had 10 houses, which was the most they've ever had, and I believe they are going to stick with that if they can this year as well. So there are going to be 10 houses, and if you're only going for one night, my recommendation would be pick like the top 5 houses and do those. Any extra time, do the other ones after. Please also be aware that it's not going to be like a carnival haunted house where each party goes in separately. It's a continual line. So if there's a stranger in front of you, you will go in directly behind them. There's about this much space between you because they want to keep that line flowing to get as many people through the house as possible. So the scare zones. Last year in 2018 there were 4 scare zones, and this year I believe there will be 4 again. The way scare zones work is a section of path or a section of area where people walk through is dedicated to a themed scary area. So one of the ones that was highlighted last year was the 1995 zombie New Year's takeover, which is a lot, but essentially it was a rock and roll festival on New Year's, and then zombie outbreak happened, so there's all lots of zombies running around in that area. Be aware that in scare zones, actors will come running up to you and get really close to your face. Some will have chainsaws, some will have hammers, and they are there to scare you. Now, if you are one of those people that gets really scared and scream, they're going to target you. If you're someone who acts real big and tough, they're not going to target you. You know, they're there to scare you and have fun with it. They're going to go for the easy targets, the fun people and stuff like that. That's their job. So make it easier for them and don't act tough. Just be in the moment. Be scared. And for those of you who are wondering, they legally are not allowed to touch you. In the haunted houses and in the scare zones, any of the actors are legally not allowed to touch you. Moving on to the show, which is usually put on by the Academy of Villains, is a dance music number. Each year they have a theming. Last year was a robot takeover. Think of like Terminator, but more like dancey and theatrical. It's very good. I enjoyed it. It's something that if you have a frequent fear pass for, see it once or twice, but then stick to the houses. In my opinion, you could be someone who loves the show and sees it every night. But the way the show works is that it's on every night at different times, you know, 5:30, 8:30, 10:30, so you have a set time. The theater does tend to fill up, so I would get there maybe like 15 to 30 minutes early depending on what seat you want. But it's really good. I definitely recommend seeing it. So other than the actual attractions surrounding Halloween Horror Night, how does this event work and what do you need to know? Well, the first thing you need to know is, yes, it's scary. It's based on horror movies, and horror movies can be scary. So my personal thing is that if you are a big fan of horror, you will absolutely adore and love Halloween Horror Night. If you hate horror, you never watch it, can't even watch any scenes, it's not for you. I would go to Disney, which is more family friendly. But Halloween Horror Night is for the true horror fans, or even just semi-horror fans that like to be scared. I know lots of people like the sensation of adrenaline and getting scared. So you should also know that unlike Disney's Halloween party, in Universal you cannot dress up. This is because they have scare actors and people they pay to dress up to scare you, and they don't want you getting mixed up with them. So you are not allowed to dress up. So these are my recommendations and other things you should know and be aware of for Halloween Horror Nights. So the first one is, if you're going as a family and are into Horror Nights, be aware of how young the children are. I believe the ticket states that it's a 13+ event only, so anybody younger isn't allowed to go in. That may have changed, but I do believe that's the rule. And that is generally because it's a scary event. If your child is 15 and like they can go in, I would make sure you know what that kid is. If that kid hates horror and is terrified, they will be scarred for life. They will cry, be scared, trust me. When I was 15 or even 18, I definitely would not have been able to handle the level of terrifying and scary and realistic horror that they put on at the events. So be aware of the age of the kid you're taking. Even if they say they can handle it, make sure you know them, you know. My sister could have handled Halloween Horror Night a lot younger than I could have. If you are only going to Halloween Horror Night one night, plan your night. Make sure you look at the day you're going. If you go early on in the season, there's going to be less people than if you go in October, closer to Halloween. So make sure you have a plan. It is possible to do the show, every house, every scare floor, and still get some attractions in if you plan your night accordingly. So if you're a big planner like me and want to get the most out of your ticket, I would recommend doing that. If you are not a big planner, I would still recommend picking 2 or 3 houses that are your must-dos, so then you can get those done and everything else is a bonus. So you can buy your ticket online, which I highly recommend, but make sure that you click the online ticket option or the ticket that will be available on your phone. There is nothing worse than getting to the front gate, having your ticket, and then realizing it's only a receipt for it and that you have to line up at guest relations to get the ticket. So make sure that if you do that option, go the day before to get your ticket and have it handy, or make doubly sure you've got the actual barcode ticket on your phone so that you can get into the event faster and smoother. So lines for Halloween Horror Night work exactly like rides work during the day. So if a line is very long, you know, 2.5 hours, if you get in line before closing time, you will get on or in that house. This is a really good strategy and plan to do for those headlining houses. I did this a lot to get into the Stranger Things house. If it closed at 1 AM, I would get in line at 12:55, and then I had the rest of my night to do exactly what I wanted, but I still was able to do the headlining in the big house. Be aware that you can be up very late to do this, so just make sure you either have a day off or that you're okay to work very tired the next day, because they do run during weekdays as well. So I hope this information helped you at least get a little more knowledgeable about Halloween Horror Night. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below and I will gladly get back to you about any details or any of the recommendations I have. I'd love to help you make the most of your holiday and your trip there. Trust me, it's so much fun. I really want you to have the best time. Like this video and don't forget to click that red subscribe button and that bell button to get notified when I post a video. I hope you all have a great day and I will see you all next week. Bye!